Growing up, I was raised in rural Michigan. There was hardly anything to do. If you like staring at trees and crops and lots of alone time, that was the place to be. I got out of there as soon as I got a car and enough money to move. I'm not a nature hater or anything, but I'd pick being by a big city any day. My parents don't own that property anymore. They sold it 5 years ago, but to describe it, it was a 3-acre property.
Chad, America is pretty big, right? So if you like live in a dense, like if you live in a place where there's less population, like this area type stuff, you'd probably kill someone and bury them under the ground. Nobody will ever know, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like that.
Property. The house itself was pretty big, and there was a storage building out back. I was 13 when this happened. My parents...
Anyone from my chat lives in a very openly area where there is less population, and probably you have danger if someone even kills you and buries you, nobody will ever know. Or do you like live in a city or something?
Would leave me alone often at this age. They trusted me because I matured at a young age and I had responsibilities on the property. It was a weekend, and I was playing Vice City on my PS2 in the living room, when suddenly, a loud metallic bang came from outside somewhere in the yard. I right away ran to every window I could to look outside to see if I could see something, and I didn't see anything until I got to the window looking out to the storage building out back. The door to it was completely open. I went immediately to grab the rifle from the closet and go outside.
Nice. I forgot Americans has guns too.
I made my presence known, shouting "Who's in there?" to no avail. When I got to the door, I made it known I had a gun before looking inside. There was a bunch of stuff in there, from the sit-down mower to the quad to infinite little lawn care items. Someone could have been hiding behind any of that stuff. Even as a kid, I didn't scare easily, but at that moment, I got really unsettled, and so I closed the door to the building and went back inside the house. I locked the door and then sat at the window for the longest time, watching the storage building, expecting the door to open at any second. That door was heavy and impossible to just open.
A gun at 13? Bro is scared. Hey dude, do you want to play Fears of Fate? No, I'll play it in the next stream. I'm done with the games. I'm reacting on the stream now.
By itself, it was simply a fact that someone came and opened it.
Oh, do you have a gun? Probably his parents have put a gun in the storage, and this kid secretly knows that. Of course, kids know what secret stuff are hiding inside the house and stuff.
Whether they were still inside of the building, I wasn't sure. I decided to go call my dad and ask his opinion. I went to the kitchen to the landline phone and called my dad's cell phone. He didn't pick up, so I left a voicemail. This was back when you'd still have to leave someone a voicemail because texting wasn't mainstream. After that, I went back to sitting next to the window, but now I put on a TV show in the background to make this less monotonous. I took the phone with me. I was probably about to give up when I heard creaks from upstairs. My heart was now in my throat. I had to ask myself the big question: was I working myself up, or was someone here? I had a serious guard dog mentality. Even if I didn't love that place, I saw it as mine, my family's. I had to protect it. But I was in over my head. I grabbed the rifle again and walked upstairs. I didn't say anything.
Chad, if there's a ghost, then what rifle's gonna do?
Calling out would only make a potential intruder know that I heard them. I made it to the top of the stairs, and I turned on the light for the upstairs hallway. There were...
I'm gonna say something, I'm scared. I'm gonna say that the guy is showing some extra courageousness over there. Who's gonna fight with a gun with a ghost?
5 doors to open, all of them closed. 4 led to bedrooms, 1 led to the bathroom. Each door had a decently large crack underneath that would allow you to see under. The creak in the ceiling I heard moments earlier.
What do you think, ghosts exist or no? I do believe in ghosts though. You might think I'm stupid, but I do. It could be thieves as well. So the gun can be useful as well, right? Yeah, we don't know what it is.
Earlier came from the side of the house my parents' bedroom was on. So I got down on my knees and looked under the crack of the door, and I saw 2 bare feet facing the other side of the door. I felt my stomach twist into a knot. The reality of the situation just became so much more real, and I realized I wasn't ready to threaten or, God forbid, shoot someone. I got up and...
If it's a blank, I'm done. Imagine you playing buckshot roulette with a ghost. Bro, it's like blank.
Quickly went downstairs, and I hid in the bathroom to call my dad. He still didn't pick up. I left another voicemail, and then I called again and again. He never picked up. He must have had his phone set down somewhere. I finally called 911, as I should have done right away, and I whispered into the phone the whole time, detailing exactly what was taking place. I was told to sit tight in the bathroom and not say a word. I heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and then they approached the bathroom door as if whoever it was somehow knew I went straight to the bathroom. The footsteps stopped outside the door, and there was a brief pause before a deep voice said, "What's up, kid?" I still remember the voice and those words so vividly. If I heard that voice today, I'd still recognize it immediately. I almost wanted to cry, that's how scared I was. I disobeyed what the operator told me, and I spoke. I said loud and clear, "I'm on the phone with the cops right now, and I have a gun." I put the operator on speaker as she was asking me if everything's okay. The man attempted to open the door, and when he realized it was locked, I heard him walk away. I heard the footsteps fade to silence, and then the sound of a door slamming. It was the sound of the back door. I'm sure I breathed a sigh of relief, and from there on, I waited for the police to arrive. When they did, I felt like £1,000,000 just lifted off my shoulders. After a thorough inspection of the house inside and out, confirming that the man was gone, they asked if there was anywhere else I could stay that night, and I said yes, my uncle's house.
Oh, what the heck? That's crazy.
Came and spoke with the police. Then he took me back to his place. The thing that haunts me the most is that it was my fault. I could have
Oh my. My chat is working with a short stream, lol. That's crazy. Never mind, I was off that.
prevented this. I left the door unlocked as I went to the storage building to investigate. Clearly, that's when the man simply walked right into the house. Even with a rifle in my hands, I didn't feel safe at all. It was truly the most horrific experience of my life.
That's the first story? Dude, stop. These horror stories are cringe. No, it was on the chat demand. There are 3 people in the long form stream. They're demanding to watch horror videos. Chad, are we ready for the second horror story? The first one was okay. Let's see if the second one is Bikehead. Let's see if this can scare.
I was 18 when my parents went away on a week-long anniversary trip. My sister had already moved out by this point, so I had to hold the fort. My parents' property is enclosed by woods and a dirt driveway leading to the road. The road is a quiet back road with equally sized properties running alongside it, all of them separated a decent distance, so it's a really isolated feel up there. Everyone in town knows each other. You see familiar faces all the time for the most part. At the gas station, at the grocery store, at the bars, which I'd learn a few years later when I started going to them.
She sounds like a man. Bro, that's...
Speaking of gas stations, this story starts one day while my parents were away. I was at a gas station filling up my tank when a black Jeep Cherokee pulled up to the pump next to mine. A man with a goatee stepped out, greeted me, and started filling his tank. In that town, it was normal for strangers to greet each other like that. He had his nozzle locked into the gas tank, and then he walked around to my side of the pump and went, "Excuse me, do you know how to get to the interstate from here?" I helped him to the best of my ability. He pulled out a notepad and started writing down the directions I gave him. Very odd how he wouldn't just do that on his cell phone like anyone else would. He thanked me and asked if I'm from the area. I said yeah, I grew up here, and he said he's from out of town. He didn't specify where. He then went back to his side and put the nozzle back in the pump. He then asked my name, as he said, "It's nice meeting you." I said my name's Kate. He said what a lovely name, and then got in his car as I got into mine. I drove out first and turned left to go up the road back.
Imagine someone using notepad, like a real note and pen. Could be scary in this age of mobile phones.
Home. It was only a few minutes worth of driving before I was approaching our turn into the driveway. I slowed down and put my blinker on, then turned right onto the property. It was at that moment that I noticed the car behind me was that same black Jeep Cherokee. He passed me as I turned into our driveway. He went the complete opposite way that I told him to go to get to the interstate. As he passed me, he didn't slow down or anything, so it seemed that maybe he just forgot the directions I gave him and went the wrong way.
Imagine you gave someone directions and they are following you on a different path.
I let myself inside and went about the rest of my day doing whatever. I think it was that night that I was going out to meet up with my friends that I stepped outside and walked to my car and heard the sound of footsteps nearby. Like I said, the house is enclosed by woods, and this was in the middle of the summertime. It could have been any number of animals, so I didn't investigate. I just got in my car and left. But when I got back home hours later and walked from my car to the house, a man's voice from out.
Do you think this is funny or just me? I think it's okay. Sometimes I laugh, but I'm not scared. But yeah, sometimes watch Darman or play Dusty Trip. Dusty Trip tomorrow. I have played games for almost 3 hours today. That's why I'm doing an end reaction. You can suggest videos if you want. I got a video for today. Tomorrow I'll watch a video.
Out somewhere in the woods, called out Kate. I got the chills as I looked around, and then in a panic, rushed to open the front door. I slammed it shut and sat on the couch to breathe.
Chad, do you believe in ghosts or no? Be honest with me.
The neighbors all knew my name, but the houses are not on top of each other, so it's a bit of a walk. And there was no reason for one of them to call my name like that, like a creep, and not identify themselves. I decided to call my parents to tell them, and their explanation was it must have been one of the neighbors, and they'll probably knock on the door. I didn't tell them about the encounter at the gas station. The next day, which was a Saturday, I stayed home most of the day, and later that night, I once again was going out to meet with my friends. After getting ready and everything, I went outside, and as I was walking to my car, I heard loud and clear from the not so far distance, someone call Kate again. This time, I didn't wait a second. I ran back inside the house and locked the door again. I called 911
Did you hear that background noise?
this time, texting my family while doing so. After 2 cops showed up to the house, they looked around the perimeter of the property with their flashlights, then came back and said to call again if this persisted. I didn't feel much better after this. It's not really like they did much. I refrained from going outside until the next day when I had work. I was a server at a nearby restaurant. I was working a late shift. I left the house in broad daylight, paranoid to hear that voice again. Thankfully though, I didn't. Maybe seeing the police car finally scared them off. After many hours at work, I was ready to go home and collapse into bed. I pulled onto the property, parked my car out front, and walked to the front door. I stopped when I heard the sound of footsteps again. It didn't sound like an animal's footsteps though. I stood on the front deck for a second, waiting. Then, that familiar voice yelled out again, saying, "Kate, don't call the cops on me again, cutie." I yelled out, "You need help, you're sick," and let myself inside. I called the cops once more, and the cops came again, searched the perimeter again, and left. My parents told me I should stay at a friend's house for the night. I couldn't agree more. They would be back the following night, so after that, I would feel much safer being there. My friend Alex told me I could stay with her that night, so I packed a bag and was ready to go. I checked out the windows first to make sure the coast was clear. I then went outside and locked the door as fast as I could, then ran to the car. As I turned the key in the ignition, I heard something right to my left. Right outside the driver's side door was a man wearing a face mask.
Yeah, it's like just cutie, dude.
Trying to open the door. I couldn't even scream. I felt like I was choking on air.
So what do you think? This will be a ghost thing or a crazy human being who has lost his mind or lost in life?
As I put the car in drive, he started hitting the glass with his elbow. I looped my car around on the grass and sped down the driveway, and I turned right up the road and didn't stop until I got to Alex's house. I was hysterically crying the whole drive there as I had Alex and her dad on the phone with me. He said he would have come and picked me up had he known the situation. We called the police together for a 3rd time in total. A couple officers went to my parents' house to investigate.
Chad, tell me, do you guys live? Even listening to my cousin singing in the shower is better than this crap, and Taylor Swift would rate him 10 on 10. Chad, tell me, do you guys live in a countryside where houses are far away from each other and probably stuff like this are likely to happen? Or on a countryside or on a city side.
Gate again, make sure no windows were shattered or anything. One officer came to Alex's house, where I once again gave my description of what happened. This was probably the most action these cops had seen in a long time in this quiet town.
City, me too.
Thankfully, my
Center of the city.
parents came home the next day, and I felt safe staying at home again. I fully believe the man at the gas station followed me home intentionally and scoped the place out, realizing I was by myself, and for whatever
City side.
reason toyed with me until he actually tried to pounce and get me. I shouldn't have given my real name, and I should have been more alert to my surroundings and realized he was following me in my car that day. Some people are nuts and have way too much time on their hands.
Yeah, Chad, if somebody is following you ever, you should not go to your real house at that time until that guy stops. You'd probably just drive towards a police station or something.
This incident was a huge motivating factor in my moving out to my own apartment a few months later.
All right.